This conference will now be recorded.
So Linux is open source operating system. We have seen yesterday that about an explanation about it, like how it started, how it went, and what all things came along with this. So it's an open source operating system, and some part of it, like some people or some distribution has made it as an enterprise as well. So it means like they have added their own source code and their own um GUIs, and then they are selling on the top of that. So it means like it's they have made this operating system proprietary, and then they are selling it like rhel enterprise, rhel itself, red hat enterprise linux. CentOS also used to come. I'm not sure if it comes or not. CentOS enterprise. So any enterprise linux is like it's paid. So the paid means like if any problem happens either in server or in desktop, you will have 24 into 7 support from the developer or from the engineer here, from the CentOS or from the rhel or from the Cisco or any other operating enterprise operating system. So that's the two type, open source and enterprise operating system. Both are based on Linux, and enterprise is also came up from the open source only. They have their own customized, and they decided to sell it on some deciding cost. So this operating system Linux is made up of here. It's consisting of bootloader, kernel, and then several software to support a GUI package manager and managing hardware and their functionality, including security and many more. So we have seen a distribution, we have seen a Linux yesterday, that this is an operating system. Here we'll have two part. We can say this as a GUI or user space, and then this is a kernel space where all your drivers are kept. All your core component of Linux kernel is running, and here all the GUIs are running. What are all things user can interact with? All the application are running here, and that application used to interact with the driver and the system management in the kernel space, and then it replies for the accordingly information is required from whatever information is required from the user. That information used to provide this kernel back to user space. So that's what this is, the kernel space. Bootloader is like system boots. So for booting the system, whatever the software is required is called bootloader. And kernel is a set of drivers, set of code which manages the kernel, which manages the whole operating system. It's the core of your operating system, and which basically plays a role to interact with your GUI, user, GUI or user, and hardware to interact in between. So basically, all your interaction modules lies down here in kernel space, which through which you can interact using GUI or any other application to the hardware. Several software do support GUI package management. Here we will have several softwares to support GUI and package management, like how this package has been managed, how this GUI has been managed, and how this should look alike. All these things has been managed here. So that's also a part of Linux. managing hardware and functionalities, including security and many more. So, along with all this, we have to manage securities and functionality also. So, the functionality has been managed by the drivers, which is lying down in the kernel. And obviously, to control this from user space, we'll have an application also for the same. So let's take an example that you have a USB pen drive. So USB pen drive, as soon as you plug in, your its driver kicks in from here, from the kernel space. After kicking in the driver loads, and then it displays the content of this file over here in user space. So in user space, you are already having an application like Windows Explorer. Like Windows Explorer, there is an application which opens and which displays the folders here, a nice view of folder, and then it displays here all your folders, which are all folders you are having in your in your pen drive. So this application is a GUI application uh, which gives you a privilege to look at any USB drive or any folder view. This is one application. Another application, you can have terminal also. Actually, in our case, we will have terminal only for everything. We are going to do everything on terminal. Terminal is like a black screen software where you can type text only. It looks like always a black screen, but if you want, you can change in white, green, or whatever color you wanted. So it doesn't matter. So it's like a text-based software where you can enter the text and perform your work. Terminal actually. So it's a shell. Uh, it's again a software which interacts with kernel which is in user space, which interacts with kernel space, and along with further it do the work. So from here also, from terminal also, you can interact. This is another application. Through terminal also, you can interact with kernel space, and then you can get the information from this USB or hard disk, whatever is here. So several softwares are there which through which you need to work in user space to interact with kernel space. We have seen that it can be open source or proprietary as well. It can be open source or proprietary. Anything can be there. So next is what does Linux distribution means. So this also we might have seen. We have seen yesterday that a number of Linux distributions are present. Distributions means like they do modify the Linux, and a company or a group of people, they modify the Linux kernel on their own and keep the same license, and then they modify the GUI as well, and they name it their distribution and distribute it officially. And you'll be able to see all the current Linux distribution available here in this wiki page. This was the wiki page I was talking about yesterday. You'll be able to get this easily on Google. You can go to Google, type Linux distribution, and you will be able to get the distribution. This wiki page. And coming to Linux, in Linux, everything is a file. The meaning of this is the meaning of this is whatever you do, you will do everything with the file. Like in Windows, you click on something and it happens, but in Linux, whenever you are clicking on something, actually here you will never click on something because you will have terminal. Okay, so you will have terminal whenever you log in into the operating system. In fact, you will log in through terminal itself, and you will have a black screen with your prompt, with your username and the folder name here, and then dollar, and then here you can type the command whatever you want. and you can get the answers. So what are all we are going to do? We are going to perform everything we will be performing through our file. Any operation, what we wanted to do here, everything will happen through file only. So in Linux, everything is a file. Either you say it's a driver is a file, controlling driver is a file. Writing, if you are going to write down in let's say you have connected a pen drive with your computer, you have connected your pen drive through your computer, and you wanted to write something, then definitely this pen drive has popped up as a file here, and then you are required to write through terminal in this file. Then whatever you are writing, it will get written automatically here. Same thing is for every place. Any device, it will get mounted as file, and in the file, and the work who's going to do to make it visible as file is driver. Driver is the one who's the device driver is the one who's playing a role to get this device visible as a file here, and so that you can read or write or whatever you wanted to do, you can do with the file. So we'll go through folder structure, folder overview, and content explanation, folder content explanation. That's all about the slide here. So this nice window looks like a kind of, if I mark this left side the window, if I move this at the bottom, it may look like a Windows, but it's actually a Linux. We are looking at Ubuntu currently. My screen is visible to everyone, correct?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yes, yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you. So this is Linux actually, and here we have Ubuntu. But you guys are not going to work on this nice looking window actually. Sorry to say that. So I'm just showing this as an example because I will be working inside this everything, and you will be working on your Windows machine. So this is what the application which I was talking about here. You will have all your drivers. I mean, not drivers. Let's say if you are plugging in pen drive, it will be visible in left side, and then you will be able to you should be able to see by clicking, and they're getting displayed here. What is the content of that? I mean, it's almost similar to your Windows. The display has been tried to make similar as Windows. The reason for that is there are so many people, or most of the people are familiar to Windows. So the people migrate from Windows to Linux, they should not feel left off or offended, or probably I can say that they should not feel that something is different and they are not able to cope up with this. So that's why it's It has been tried, and over the year, Ubuntu has changed a lot to make it compatible with, not compatible, to look alike Windows. But yes, internally there are so many things which is different than Windows. It's Linux which is entirely different than Windows. So we'll see. We'll come back to the folder structures and all later. Before that, we'll learn how to install uh, CentOS operating system, from where to download, how to do all the things. So let me see if I have access. I am just doing a Google. There I have searched for VirtualBox. It gives me this website. I'm going to this website. After going to this website, I will go to downloads. After going to download, if you are using Windows host, you are required to download this Windows host. And if you are using Linux, you need to go to Linux distribution, and there you need to download which distribution you want. You want for Ubuntu, you want for Oracle, you want for OpenSUSE, you want for Fedora or Debian, what you want. So all you can download it from here according to your requirement. Okay. So I might have downloaded for Ubuntu 22.04, since I'm running 22.04, I think. Wait. Oh, VirtualBox 616138. Let me see what I have. If I have old one, I will try to update that to new. Download, it should be somewhere in downloads. Oh, I don't have it, seems. I might have downloaded and uploaded from the Debian package. Anyways, let's download and update it from here, and let's see how it looks. So anybody is using Linux as your host? Host is much like you in your laptop. You have, when you turn on your laptop, you get Linux. Does anyone is here like that? Hmm. I was having some other VirtualBox, so I was removing. Here I've removed that, and I'm installing whatever I have downloaded here, this VirtualBox. So if nobody is using Linux, then I will tell you what to do. Okay, let this installation go on. I can tell you what to do. So if you have your Linux, sorry, Windows, you can download, you can click on here, Windows host, and it will download a file here. It's going to be around, what is the size of the file? File size seems to be like 106 MB. Here 106 MB, you can see that. At the bottom it will show 106.4 MB. So you need to download and you need to double click and then it will uh, display you the nice window to click on next, next, next and install. So by default, whatever options are going to come, you are going to install this. That's what you are going to do. Installation with the VirtualBox. And if you have Linux, either it's a Ubuntu or any other, please get back to me. I will tell you how to install and how to download that. So you can install this VirtualBox. I have shown you how to install, sorry, from where to download and how to install. You can get to know. Like any other software, you can install it. After installation, okay, fine. So after installation, what you are going to do is when you open, it will open something like this window, and in this window you will not have this. You, I have UB CentOS GUI. I have this. You will not have anything like this. So you are required to start from here, new. Okay, before explaining this, let me come back. What is this VirtualBox and why we are using this VirtualBox? And what was the application name? It seems to be like a kind of paint here to me, so I'm using it. So screen is visible, correct? Let me see it's visible or not. Yep, it's visible. So why we need a virtual machine? Let's say I will bring an example. You you have your computer here, in which you are already having an operating system installed. That's Windows 7, 8, 10, 11. It can anything. Okay, it can be anything. Windows, any Windows it can be. So to install this, you are required to do two things. Sorry, it's already installed. So To work on Linux, you are required to do two things, either one or two, or maybe third also you can do. So first thing you might need to do, you might need to remove this Windows and install this Linux fresh, which nobody will prefer to do. Second thing, what you can do is Windows, let the Windows be like that, and whatever the hard disk is there, compress the hard disk space, make this space available, and install install in this space, install Linux, and make your disk as dual boot. So it's like dual boot, dual boot operating system you will have. So it does not mean that both the operating systems are going to boot at the same time. It means like if at one time whenever you turn on, it will ask which operating system you wanted to boot. You want to boot Linux? Okay, go ahead, boot Linux. If you want to boot Windows, go ahead, boot Windows. This is the second method. So everything you are going to do on your bare metal. I mean your on your laptop or desktop. Now third thing what we have. Third thing we have is, let's say you have an operating system, not operating system. Mm, you have your computer. In your computer, you are having an operating system. This is Windows. It can be any Windows. In this Windows, we are going to install a software that is called VirtualBox. Mhm. You are going to install VirtualBox. And then this VirtualBox, what it will do? Let's say you have a motherboard here. In your laptop, you have a motherboard, and on the motherboard only you have installed. On the motherboard will have a hard disk. Here you will have a hard disk, and this hard disk only you are going to install your operating system, Windows, whatever you have installed. Okay, so and when you turn on this Windows, it will access all the components of this motherboard, and you will utilize this motherboard. Motherboard is a PCB. PCB, it's an electronic device, or not a device actually, it's an electronic set of components mounted on a board and connected to each other, and which makes a device. That's what we call it as a PCB. And which not device, or maybe device it can be, but it has certain purpose in it. That PCB, it serves a certain purpose. So having said that, you will have a hard disk, and this operating system is going to utilize that hard disk. Now let's say you have installed this VirtualBox in your Windows. So what VirtualBox will do, it will emulate your motherboard. It will emulate your whole motherboard here, and it will make a virtual kind of motherboard, and it will, if you want to install an operating system, it will give you a privilege to install an operating system on a emulated motherboard. It will show that it has its a NIC card. NIC card means like it has its uh, LAN card. It has its own hard disk. It has its own processor, it has its own RAM. So all these things you will be able to see a separate part. So it's like VirtualBox is going to give you a new blank computer to you. And if you got a new blank computer, then yes, you can install an operating system in that. Okay. So this is the third way to work on Linux, to make it separate everything and the way you want it to do. Your data are safe here. Your Windows is safe. Nothing to do with your data, nothing to do with your Windows. Just install an application and start running your Linux box. But yes, since you want your Windows is to be there, and on the addition of that, you want another operating system is to run, then yes, you need to have an extra resources. Extra resources means like if you are having dual core CPU and just only 1 or 2 GB RAM, then it will be a bit tough to run this VirtualBox on the top of those, and you may end up in less resource and your system might hang because you have less RAM, you have less processor. If you have, let's say, 4 GB or 8 GB RAM on this Windows, and then out of this 4 GB or 8 GB, you are giving 2 GB to this VirtualBox, and just only two cores to this VirtualBox, or one core is also enough to this VirtualBox. Your Windows will also work fine. Your VirtualBox will also work fine. VirtualBox operating system will also work fine. So there are three things. First, you might need to format this whole system itself to install Linux. I mean, your whole hard disk and your motherboard, your hardware, bare metal hardware you will use to install Linux. That's one part. Another part, you may require to load the Linux side by side. In one part you may have Windows, another part you may have Linux. So at one time you might need to boot either Windows or Linux. This is the third we have explained. We have got to know just now that you might need to provide an extra additional software which is called VirtualBox. This software provides the emulation of your motherboard, and on that emulated motherboard you can install a new operating system. So the emulation of your motherboard and the hardware devices is called virtualization. Actually, virtualization is a layer which is getting provided by VirtualBox here. And in market there are several other software like VMware, which also provides the virtualization. And these are all the two famous I am able to know: VirtualBox and VMware. And I'm not sure if minis are present, but yes, I'm sure that several others are present, which gives the virtualization. And open source Linux virtualization software, you can call it as a QEMU. QEMU is also a virtualization software which is available, but that's an open source and that's not so nice to click and install. That has lots of capabilities, and a person who is installing need to have lots of knowledge. So we'll not cover that QEMU. And if you wish to go ahead, install VMware, you can, but you can install VMware workstation, but it requires license. And this virtual box, why I choose VirtualBox, it's freeware and it is available for individual use, and it does not require any such licenses. You can download, install, and use it. I have downloaded just now in front of you guys. I have installed it here. Now I'm going to use it. So this will be the screen to you in front of you. And when I click on new, it's like it's going to give me a new board. It'll ask me to create a new board, new motherboard, new emulated motherboard actually. So let me start with that. New. as I have written CentOS, and where I wanted to create this CentOS type is Linux. You can see these many type of operating system you can install in this VirtualBox, and what could be the version of that you are installing. So we are going to install CentOS, but CentOS is another variant of Red Hat family. So we just select the Red Hat 64-bit and we'll do the next. CentOS is already present. You can see the CentOS name is already present. So I need to rename it CentOS 1. I'll press next. Then it's asking for RAM, how much RAM I wanted. I have 8 GB of RAM here. Not 8, actually I have 32 GB of RAM. So on the top of 32 GB RAM, I have this virtual machine, whatever you're looking at. This is Ubuntu virtual machine. And to Ubuntu virtual machine, I have given 8 GB RAM, and that's what it's getting visible. Not even 8 GB, maybe 7 point something GB RAM. So out of 7 GB RAM, I will once again, in this virtual machine, I'm installing another virtual machine again here. This is the Oracle VirtualBox. So how it will look to you in this? So this is my laptop, which is having 32 GB RAM. In this laptop, I have installed this VirtualBox. On the top of this, I have installed Linux Ubuntu. What a pen. Okay, I've installed. It's gone. So I was having an operating system. On the top of that, I have installed VirtualBox. And this top of VirtualBox, I have installed Linux. And this is Ubuntu. You are not required to do all these things. I have certain reason why I'm doing this. So in this Ubuntu, once again, I have installed a VirtualBox. And that VirtualBox is this VirtualBox, which you are looking at currently. And in this VirtualBox, I'm going to give 2 GB RAM, and in this VirtualBox I will install another Linux. Maybe it will be CentOS 7. So let's give a RAM. I will give 2 GB RAM. 2056 2048, let it be. So it's around 2 GB, not exactly. Next, now it's asking me to create my hard disk. How much hard disk I wanted to create. So I'm going to create 8 GB or 8 GB of hard disk, and the name it's going to take CentOS dot underscore one dot VDI. I'm going to create. So it's asking me to create VDI, VHD, VMDK. These are all the hard disk type which a virtual machine supports. So by default, we will select VDI. We'll proceed next. So what we are trying to achieve here, we are trying to achieve a blank laptop in your terms, I can say, or we are trying to create a virtual machine here. First of all, when virtual machine will be created, then on the top of that virtual machine, we will install operating system. So first of all, we are trying to create a machine. Since it's on virtual environment, we are calling it a virtual machine. So storage, whatever is we have allocated here, 8 GB, it's asking us to dynamically allocate it. Dynamically allocated means like, let's say in this base machine itself, uh, let's understand what is called dynamic allocation here. Okay, in this base machine itself, let's say somebody is asking me to install a Linux in 8 GB. I have allocated 8 GB. I have installed Linux. I've installed Linux in this, and my Linux took only space of 2.5 GB only. So out of 8 GB, I have taken only 2.5 GB. So remaining 5.5 GB space are free. So whenever I create a 8 GB of hard disk, it's not going to take 8 GB from from my base hard disk. Base hard disk means like my laptop hard disk. It's not going to take 8 GB space from my laptop hard disk. It's going to take 2.5 GB only, whatever is utilized. But it can expand up to 8 GB based on need. That's what the meaning of dynamically allocation. Dynamically allocation means whenever there is a need of expansion, it will expand the hard disk space up to 8 GB. Dynamically, that's what meaning is. Initially, it will not have 8 GB. Initially, it will be in some few KBs only. So that's what the dynamic means. So we will do dynamic allocation. Let's say if I'm giving fixed size means it's going to allocate this 8 GB, whatever 8 GB we have given, it's going to allocate 8 GB from here, and it's going to take 8 GB space from here, my base hard disk, and it's going to allocate this 8 GB from starting itself. Let's say if it's using 2.5, okay, let it be, it will use 2.5. The remaining 5.5 will be free from this allocation. But in dynamically, it will not allocate that much. It will allocate only 2.2 GB. And so from base, it takes only 2.2 GB. It won't take 5.5. That's what the difference is. So we'll do dynamically allocated. We'll press next. Now it's asking the size again. If I wanted to increase the size, so I just wanted to keep 8 GB only. Let's create the 8 GB. So now after creating, we have we have our virtual machine ready. You can see that we have a network card, you have a USB device. I have a share folder also. We have an audio device also, like your laptop does have speakers. You can see that it has a hard disk also, which is having 8 GB. You can see that it has a display also, which has all these drivers, and this is how it is connected, remote desktop server. This is system. System means like processor we are talking about here, and 2 GB RAM, processor and RAM, 2 GB RAM, and it supports floppy booting. It can boot from floppy optical disk or hard disk, and this is the acceleration it supported in terms of processor. Let me click here. When I click here, or okay, it opened here itself. This menu you can get it by clicking here, or you can get it by clicking settings and system. So you can see that this is your motherboard. Base memory RAM is this one. You need not to worry about this. You can go to processor, you can switch, you can increase your how many CPUs you want. I have only two CPUs, so let it be one. Acceleration you need not to do anything at all. This is your motherboard. This is the general configuration. You just need to name and the type and all. The storage, you can see which this is your hard disk which you have connected, 8 GB. Currently actual size is 2 MB only. So currently it's taking size in your hard disk is only 2 MB, not 8 GB. But virtual size is 8 GB. It can go up to 8 GB based on your data. If you copy more data, it will increase from 2 MB to your the size of copied data, whatever you're copying. And this you can install, you can connect any DVD, CD here if you want to. That's what this menu is for. Audio is like for your audio, if you want to play something, how the voice will come, all these things, which driver it has to install, LSA, Pulse Audio, or OSS audio driver. So all those things are here. Network, how you want to configure your network. So that's what it's going to ask. So I will leave it to NAT first of all, and then we'll further change based on the requirement. Serial port, we don't need. USB, it has only one USB drive, but anyways, we are not going to use this as this also. Shared folder, we don't need. User interface, we don't need as of now. So we'll click on OK, and we have our we have our operating system available. That is without any issue. I mean, without any operating system, this is a blank desktop. It's available here. Let's say if I start this, the basic job of this is to search startingly about the bootloader, from where to boot and which operating system to boot. If it's not finding bootloader, it will fall back and say that not able to find out the boot device. So let's start this. Oh, it's asking to select the startup disk. If I cancel, okay, let's cancel it. So we should not cancel it. I'm able to look into import symbol from module. Okay, fine. So what I need to do is I need to give the DVD from where we need to boot. Actually, I wanted to show that. Let me turn on this virtual machine, but it should have already installed. I think so. Hmm. Is there any problem? Uh-oh. I think we ended up in some problem. Let me open this again and see whether it gives me the option or not. Now I need to resolve this problem. This problem has came because I have removed one virtual machine and then installed it. That's why. And new will also not work, it seems. Let me see if it's not going to ask. Yeah, it's going to ask host driver DVD ROM. Okay. So let me give this host driver to the CentOS host disk. Okay, fine. Hmm, okay. I think I need to switch back to original version which it was having. Now I'm removing this VirtualBox and installing whatever it was there before. These things you guys need not to do. You have your exe, you will simply click on exe, it will simply install. You need not to do anything at all. Hmm. Now we are back. So what I was explaining, let me remove this storage, CentOS, remove. So what I was saying is let me start this machine. As we start, you can see that it's trying to boot. No bootable medium found. System halted. It's not going to boot further. If you are going to reset also, it's going to say the same thing. Reset means restart. Press F12 to boot selected device and you can see that there is no bootable media found here. So what we need to do is we need to give a bootable media. So how we give a bootable media? Either by inserting a DVD or a pen drive which does have a media from where it can boot. So first of all, we give a bootable media from here like devices, optical disk, CentOS. We have given the bootable media to this virtual machine. Now we will reset this machine or we'll simply close and restart. It will boot from that machine. It will boot from that media. You can see that it's booted from here and it gave the menu. So it's CentOS 7. I want to install, I want to test the media and install CentOS 7, or I want to do some troubleshooting. So my purpose is to install the CentOS 7. So I'll press up arrow key. So you can see that the highlighted white text is moving further up and down. So I pressed one time up arrow key and it is highlighting the install CentOS 7. So there is no benefit if I, even though if I zoom in, because the screen is going to be like this. So but there may be a benefit here, I think. Let me see if I can zoom it for you guys. Mhm. Hmm. So I can make one time up arrow key I can press, then I'll press enter. So it's going to show me, it's going to boot from the CD drive or DVD drive, whatever we have inserted here.
Sir,
Yes?
whatever we booting that only that dual boot only, no sir.
No, we are not booting
Unless
in the dual mode. The third one.
dual mode. Oh, okay sir.
The
Okay sir.
third one. We have installed VirtualBox, and in that
Hmm.
VirtualBox we are trying to install a operating system. We have
Okay sir.
not gone for the dual boot. Dual boot is not what we are doing right now. Dual boot is like whenever you will see Windows and Linux parallel at the same time, display, not running. Okay, it
Okay,
will
that one
display,
is
which this one is separate.
okay sir. Okay. This one separate screen.
Not separate screen. It's a separate operating system like this.
Oh, okay sir. Okay
Yeah,
sir.
you have base
Dual
operating
software.
system Windows.
Hmm.
Your base operating system here Windows is running, and in that
Yes sir.
I have installed a VirtualBox, and in that VirtualBox I'm running. So if I remove that VirtualBox, you will not turn on. You cannot turn on this.
Okay sir.
This is gone. Okay. If you
Okay sir.
delete also, this is gone. Your Windows is still there. So to turn
Okay.
on this Linux, you have to turn on this Windows first, then open this VirtualBox, and then turn on this Linux. Okay. And what
Oh,
I was talking
yes.
about dual mode is like whenever you turn on your laptop or your desktop, you will see in your screen itself you want to boot this Windows or you want to boot this Linux.
Yes.
What do you want to boot? It will ask. You select Linux, it will boot Linux. You select Windows, it will boot Windows.
So,
Okay.
whatever we need to. Okay sir. I understand.
Hmm. So here is the installation we have. Let me press continue. Okay, before going till here, I have missed one thing. I have missed what I have missed. What I have missed is this ISO I have given. From where I have got this ISO. Okay, let me finish this installation, then I will tell you where I have got this ISO. Installation destination you need to look at. I'll make it this as a done, and it will not complain after that. I'll just open and do it done. It's complaining. Then let me click on that. I have just clicked 2 times and then once again done. This exclamation mark should go away on its own. Yeah, it's gone. So software selection should be minimum and the installation source should be local media. And that's it. You need to begin install. I will come back once again, not today, maybe tomorrow, to explain more about software section and to explain more about installation sources. So installation sources, not in sources, sorry. Installation destination. I'll come back and check, tell in installation destination more about it. Okay. So we'll begin the install. Let it will ask for the root password. Let's keep the root password. What is root? We will explain that later. But it's asking for the password. Just give the password. User creation, I will have user, and I'm going to give a password for that user. That's it. It's done. It will install the operating system. After some time, it will ask to reboot. Okay. So this is the installation of operating system. This is the installation of CentOS operating system, or minimal Linux operating system, I can say. So one part is missing. What is that part? So let me minimize this. From where I have got this ISO. In this settings, I have gone into storage, and in storage I have clicked on live DVD CD, and then I have connected this. In your case it will not come. So how to get this? CentOS x86 64 DVD 2009.iso. It will not come for you. So what you need to do is you need to go to Google, search for CentOS server download, click on this link. After clicking on this link, you need to select this x86_64 because you have a 64-bit system. I assume that most of the people will have 64-bit system, so I'm selecting this, and then you can select one of these mirrors. These are all mirror actually. We'll talk about this in near future, what is called mirror also. So I'm just selecting this mirror, whatever the first, and after that you are required to download this CentOS 7 hyphen x86_64 hyphen dvd hyphen 2009.iso. So as soon as you simply just click, it will download. Okay, so I already have the download, so let me finish before it finishes its download, because speed is way fast. So I already have for this in my laptop or this machine, so I'm not going to download. So after downloading this, you have to open the settings. After opening settings, you need to go back to storage, select on this, go in live CD DVD, click on this machine, choose or create virtual or optical disk. You need to click on this. Okay, where is that? Choose a disk file. Yeah, choose a disk file. Going to choose a disk file, and you will be able to see this one. Here you need to click on this machine, sorry, this ISO, whichever you have downloaded in downloads, and then it's done. And that will come back here, and then when you when you start the machine, it will start like that, and it will start booting from your ISO, whatever you have given to it. Just 1 second, please. So after finishing off this, we'll reboot the system and then installation is done. Anybody has any doubt here so far? How to install an operating system, how to install VirtualBox? Because you are going to perform all this operation on your own. In your system, you have to do that.
Nothing, sir. No doubt.
Okay, let me ask every one of you because sometimes I may hear from somebody, sometimes I may not. So, okay, so Anusha, do you have any doubt in that?
No, sir.
Okay,
Okay.
Ganesh, Ashwarya,
No, sir. I have already installed.
you have already installed parallel to this or
Yes.
sometime back. Yep, so I'm back. So I see that Ganesh is installed. It's good. Ashwarya, have you also installed? I am facing technical difficulties on my laptop with my Wi-Fi. So that's why I have joined through mobile, and maybe my network may not be that much good. As if everybody has understood this session, and if nobody has any doubt, then it's okay. Okay, so I'm not hearing anything from anybody, so I can assume that nobody has any problem. So what I can do is I can wrap up the session for today, and I do expect everybody to have installed a virtual machine and virtual box. And on the top of that, you need to have installed operating system. Everybody, this is an assignment for you guys, and you all are have to prepare an assignment. I will mail what assignment you guys need to prepare. So can everyone tell their email ID? Or I will pick from him. So if he will not have, I will mention in the group to give the mail ID so that I can submit. I can give the assignment to everyone.
Okay,
I
sir.
hope it's clear.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So just be online for more 2 minutes. Let me mark the attendance sheet. And then we can wrap up this session. So I've taken the screenshot of the screen. Okay, so I'm good with that. Yeah, so I have taken the screenshot, so I'm good with that. I'll mark that, and since attendance sheet again is taking some time to open because of again internet issue. So I'll update the attendance for everyone overall present. Okay,
Okay,
then
sir.
thank you everyone for today.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.